welcome everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our annual APASS Connections kickoff reception. What's even more exciting is that APASS Connections is now into its 19th year. So that's the age of some of you freshmen or sophomores out there, is that right? Yeah. Exciting. It's also one of our best years, if not the best year, I would say. This year we have 79 mentees. And mentees come from the whole myriad of different fields, from pharmacy to pre-med, from law to psychology. We have mentees all across the board in all different fields. And if you think that's impressive, well, we have, drum roll, we have 85 mentors this year. That's more than mentees. We have mentors in pharmacy, in law, in banking, in nonprofit, and even in physical therapy, finally. And the big cherry on top is this. This year we have a 97.5 mentee match rate. We only have 2 mentors in the field of medicine who aren't matched this year. So if you know of any APA doctors out there, you can come up here and let me know later tonight. That would be wonderful. All right, well, we're going to move right along to our speaker of the night, Amy Johnson, and she is the Senior Associate Dean of Students here at USC. So can you all join me in welcoming Amy Johnson?
So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this event. It's great to meet some new friends and to see some old ones. Jace, I just caught the corner, out of the corner of my eye. Thanks so much for being here. I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today. I was reminded of a story that happened very early on in my experience here at USC. And I won't mention any names due to the nature of the content, but I went to a welcome event for new students. And one of my colleagues in student affairs, for whom I have a good bit of respect and affection, was welcoming the new incoming class and said, "Welcome to Hook Up You." And, I just seated myself in the corner and thought, this is just going to be your ordinary garden variety welcome. And I remembered he said that, and I went, what? How are you going to follow that opener, right? Because for, some of you who are older, like I am, a little older generation, you still may not appreciate Hook Up You to our community meant something a little different to what it means to the younger generation now, right? And so I remember thinking, how are you going to follow up this act? And the speaker went on amidst the tittering, which I don't think the person heard because the speaker was a good bit away from the audience. But amidst the tittering, the speaker went on to talk about how at the University of Southern California, we really know how to help students develop connections better than any other of our peer institutions across the country. And I remember thinking, wow, if you can deliver on that promise to me, who's been here, at the University of Southern California all about 20 minutes, that's really something. And I have to say, now 6 years later, I've had an opportunity to observe that in a very direct way and been impressed, and in fact have had an opportunity to see that proven true. And it is largely, I think, due to this special thing that we have at USC called the Trojan Family, which is evidenced, I think, by the folks in the room tonight. The people who are our alums, who come back and give of their time and say, I want to help the next generation of Trojans be successful in their careers, in their lives. And so I have had an opportunity to see Hook Up You in action, and I'm pleased to say, although I don't think it had its certain more colloquial meaning for students, I am pleased to say that I really think it is alive and well at USC. And I have had an opportunity to benefit from mentoring, a number of mentorship relationships actually that have been very important in my career, and wanted to have an opportunity to speak about that today because, in point of fact, the reason that I'm standing before you today and involved in student affairs in the first place is directly as a result of a conversation that I had with a mentor, and some of you may have sort of a similar experience. This story may resonate with you if you're already working and have a career. But I graduated from my undergraduate institution, the University of Puget Sound in Tacoma, Washington, with a double major in English and communication. And for those of you who have a double major or have had a double major, you may understand that what happens around your senior year is you start getting pressured by each of your majors to go to graduate school in that particular program, right? And again, for those of you who've been in this experience, for me it felt a little like I was trying to choose my favorite parent, right? So I couldn't decide what I wanted to do and what I wanted to study, but I knew one thing, I knew that I wanted to teach. And so I decided to take the next several years off and work and come to a determination about which of these two undergraduate majors at the time I was going to pursue a master's and ultimately a doctorate and then teach. And what I did was I worked for 5 years actually for Washington State government in the area of policy and strategic planning, both related to healthcare administration and higher education administration. And what I found was sort of a happy accident in that I really had, I think, a facility and some skill to offer in policy and strategic planning and communication. And thought, well, now how do I add this newfound interest of mine with my long-held desire to teach? And I did what I encourage you to do, what I expect many of us do. I went back to a mentor. And I met with the woman who, at the time when I was an undergraduate, was the dean of my communication program, and said to her, I'm stuck. You know, I sort of want to do this thing, I sort of want to do this thing over here. I'm very committed to this idea of teaching. I am a daughter of a teacher and had an opportunity to appreciate in a very direct way that the impact on other students' lives and on my life of some good teachers. So I said, I don't want to give that up. What do I do? And now 5 years later, when I went back and spoke with this woman, she was, interestingly, the vice president for student affairs at my undergraduate institution. And through talking, she asked me a lot of probing questions, and we spent some time visiting and talking about things that were important to me and what my values were and so forth. And she said, you know, I think you really need to think about student affairs as a career. And I had never thought of student affairs as a career. I had been very involved as a sort of peer mentor and in various student affairs programs and activities as an undergrad, but never really considered that. And it was as though a whole new universe opened up to me. And I went and researched student affairs programs and found that it would be an ideal opportunity in many respects to connect my interest in teaching and my love for teaching. I could teach in education and teach about things that I cared about very much, and bring in this other aspect of my career and my experience that had been important to me and sort of build my own path. And so that's what I have done. And you know, since that time, I have earned a master's and a doctoral degree from the University of Pennsylvania, for those of you who might be from the East Coast. Shout out to Philly. In any event, I have obtained my degrees. I now teach for the Rossiter School of Education, and I work, as Bonnie mentioned, in the Student Affairs Division here at USC. I love what I do. I love the people with whom I work. And more than anything, I love that I'm here as a result of a conversation with a mentor that I have kept up over the years. As a matter of fact, she's now sort of a colleague in many respects. I'll always look up to her as a mentor, but she's a colleague now. And that's a very special relationship to me and was a defining moment in my life and my career. So as just, you know, an N of one example of what a powerful mentor can do, I encourage you to keep up the work that you have either started today or are continuing today, because it can have such a powerful impact in students' lives. And so I want to offer just a couple of specific remarks to folks in the room, to our mentors, to say thank you for being here. This is an